All right, guys, here we are. It is Wednesday, June 6th, 4 p.m. Eastern, and I hope a bunch of you guys can join me because I'm actually I'm on vacation. I'm on PTO from my work this week, so this is why I was able to get a stream in middle of the week, kind of middle of the day. I don't know exactly how many people are going to be able to come in and join us because I assume you guys have to work too, but maybe some people in Europe, it's a good time for them. Maybe some people that are getting off early on the East Coast or something like that. And we'll kind of just take this stream, I don't know, as long as it goes on for and is active and you guys are engaged and stuff like that. But there's a lot to talk about. But before we get into that, YouTube was giving me some problems when I was setting up the stream about the stream health. I don't know if you guys have ever tried to stream on YouTube, but it was telling me that the bit rate was too high, and it's just my normal settings, so I don't know what exactly was going on here. My internet connection is good, so I had to decrease the bit rate a little bit. I hope that the video still looks and sounds good. If there's any problems with it, please let me know in the let me know in the chat. And Jacob just sent me a message that was deleted automatically by the system. Sorry about that, Jacob. I don't know why the system automatically flagged your message as spam, but feel free to say anything else that you want. I don't think it was spam. Oh my god. So I don't even know. I'm kind of babbling here, but as long as the stream looks good, I'm glad you guys can join me. It's Computex week. Clearly I'm not there, but I was hoping to be able to talk to you guys about some things in that were shown at Computex, but I also have some other things that I wanted to talk to you guys about because I know that there's a lot of content that I've put out recently that we haven't yet really had a chance to discuss, and I know you guys probably have some questions about, namely Project Baron and the aftermath of that disaster. So I definitely like to get into that. And I don't know, whatever else you guys feel like chatting about. So gonna wait, I guess, for a little bit of time for people to come in, but I'm gonna go back and just see who's in the chat, see who's saying hi, and kind of take it from there. How about that? So let me scroll back up in the chat and see what's up. And I am having a drink because, like I said, I'm on vacation and I'm entitled to. This is for you guys, those guys who are interested and are of drinking age. This is Angry Orchard Easy Apple. So it's supposed to be less sweet. I've never had it before, but regular Angry Orchard, one of the complaints is that it's pretty sweet. I can't really drink. I can't drink regular beer, as I'm sure you guys. Well, I'm sure some of you guys are aware. I have celiac, so I can't have gluten. Regular beer has gluten. Angry Orchard does not, and hopefully this is a little bit less sweet than their normal stuff. So cheers, thanks for coming in, and let's have a good stream. So Shellback Tech is here. What's going on? One of my patrons, Weston Barr, Krazy316, Perspective, another patron, Kevin Kern, Rodimus, It's Night, Angelo Batista, Jacob finally got a comment through. Thanks, Jacob. A lot of people saying hello now. Okay, great. I'm glad that there are a lot of people that are able to get in here and participate in the chat. So like I said, if you guys have questions for me, fire them off. I'm going to be answering, I guess, as many as I reasonably can. But there are certainly some things that I'd rather talk about. So if the conversation kind of skews that way, then that's the way we're going to do it. Okay, so the first question that came through was about Project Baron, and it's from It's Night, who says, what's up, man? What happened to Project Baron? That's the white build, right? Oh, no. So if you are not familiar with Project Baron, it was a 5-part series I did on the channel using a lot of parts that Jacob in the chat sent me, but don't bug him because I don't want to make his life difficult. But he works for Watercool, so and they sent me over some parts, and I was able to put together a killer system. 5 videos went up on that, and I mean, it was an amazing performer. The temperatures were so, I could, like, unbelievably low, even when overclocked on like 2 Vega 64s and a Threadripper 1950X, and the whole thing went boom. And it was, I guess it was, my fault. Maybe for not paying as much attention to the orientation of the pass-through fitting, which was being turned from the bottom. But you know what? Let me try to explain what happened for those of you who because maybe it wasn't as clear as I would have liked. I don't here. Let's use some demo items. Let's use some pens because I don't have any tubes near me. Okay, so we had a mid plate. Okay, and underneath the mid plate there was soft tubing that was run in the basement that was connecting items that had passed through the mid plate. So we had pump and res here, we had graphics card here, and there's soft tubing connecting them underneath this mid plate so that you don't see it. It's very neat and clean. That soft tubing is connected via compression fittings underneath, and it's in place pretty good. Like it's not going to twist or turn or anything like that on the fitting. But the pass-through fitting itself is just kind of screwed into the mid plate. And what happened was, when I took the system apart to clean it, to clean the blocks, to flush everything, to change the coolant, one of the pass-through fittings must have came unscrewed. Like, not a lot, just a little bit, so that it wasn't completely firm and tight. Because it wasn't clamped down on the mid plate, it rotated some. And the rotation here, so here's the mid plate, okay? The rotation of the pass-through fitting above the mid plate caused the fitting below, because they're attached, to rotate as well. And that is attached to the soft tubing. Now the soft tubing will turn and bend and flex, but its natural inclination is then to turn back. So that creates torque on whatever you're attaching to the mid plate at the top of that fitting. So on the top of that fitting, I had a tube that was going up like this, and then going over like this, and going into my my CPU block. And because that soft tubing at the bottom was creating that torque, because that pass-through fitting had unknowingly rotated, when I connected everything up, it was like this, and then in, okay? The whole tube was being torqued, and then when I turned the system on, created additional back pressure, and the whole tube rotated and just popped that fitting right off of the CPU, and it was a nightmare. It was a night. I'm still dealing with it. I haven't cleaned everything yet. I've been able to evaluate the 2 Vega 64s, and they are fine. Thank God. I've been able to test the Trident Z RGB memory, and that works. I lost a 1 terabyte Samsung 960 Evo drive, because that was like that it just got dumped on. It was right under the chipset cover, and the water just it must have gotten just right in there and just stayed there before I had a chance to really get everything dried out. And that thing was just toast. Unfortunately, that had a lot of footage on it that I hadn't yet used for other videos. So there's not a whole lot that I could do about that. Still have not tested the CPU or motherboard, and I'm still in the process of cleaning the fans, because it was just getting it. I have to scrub every fan down, every part of every fan, every blade, every nook and cranny with a toothbrush and isopropyl alcohol, and it's just enormously time consuming, and I'm still trying to work through it. But in the meantime, I'm still trying to bring you guys content, so what I had to do is I had to resurrect a different machine, which is why I'm using my 7900X system now. And I mean, this is a great machine for editing, so I can't really complain. However, the other side of my basement is literally still has coolant in places that I have not yet found. It sprayed everywhere. It was like I took a garden hose and turned it on. That the flow was like thick and chunky and just like blasting right out. And I've never experienced anything like that before, and kind of makes me a little gun shy to do it again, to be honest with you, especially with a system that I need to use all the time. So that's the story of Project Baron. So it's night. There is your answer. I hope you found it satisfactory. But that is what's going on with that system, and I don't know. I hope you guys got at least some entertainment out of that video. When I was editing it, I was like, I couldn't believe some of the footage I got just with my phone. I mean, because it was splashing, I literally had coolant all over my face, all in my hair, all over my shirt, and I was cleaning up so much that by the time I started filming and I flipped the camera around and I was looking at like a selfie cam, that's when I was like, I got coolant all over my face. I didn't even realize I still had it all over my face. Man, I need to drink some more. All right, so, yeah. Okay, so that's that. And let me scroll back up, I guess, and see if we could get through some other questions, because that was just one question. All right, so everybody's saying hello. Video looks fine. That's good. I'm glad to see that. Did you see the new 28 core? Gamers Nexus proved it's a repurposed Xeon 8180. Okay, so let me touch briefly on that. I saw the announcement, and then the next thing I saw about it was Paul's video, where he was up in the Gigabyte suite, and they were showing off that really, really bizarre motherboard. It was a socket 3647 board, which is a Xeon board, and literally the first thing that when I saw that video, literally the first thing I thought was there's something weird about this. And then he showed the cooling solution, which was they had like a portable AC unit piping in to some custom bits power block, and I'm like, that's really weird. That's not a cooling solution that you should have to put on top of a consumer product. And then the next thing I saw was Steve's video from Gamers Nexus about, that is likely a repurposed Skylake X 8176 Xeon. So that sounds right. I mean, everything that I'm seeing, that appears to be correct. We don't have confirmation yet, and I am always hesitant to speak ill of a product before we have confirmation of things, but from all appearances, it just looks like Intel kind of freaked out when they found out that AMD was going to be announcing their Threadripper 2, which is 32 cores, and you're like, oh man, we got to do something about this. Let's just see if we could get a high core count chip working here. And they just threw something together. I mean, that Xeon chip has existed for a while now, and it's not a consumer grade part. That's a server part, and there's no, it's not something that was likely ever planned to see the market until Intel just realized that they're maybe falling a little bit behind. So that's where that came from. So that's kind of crappy. I mean, it would be cool if they came out with something that was reasonable and didn't need an air conditioner piping cold air onto it in order to operate. But, I mean, as it is, it just looks like it's a Xeon chip. So, I mean, and that thing exists. It's a very expensive part, and it's not something that I would ever consider buying. It's just way too power hungry. Can't even imagine how much, what size power supply you're going to need for it. All right. More people saying hello. Uncanny Media, Alex Trotta, The Sickness, Old Man Ian, Mario S. What's up, guys? Thanks for coming in and hanging out. And I'm probably missing a whole bunch of comments. Okay, Jacques Allers says, will Project Baron 2 be Threadripper 2nd Gen? I don't know. I definitely will be doing something with the new Threadripper CPUs, but I don't know what yet. So I don't want to commit to that because, like I said, right now I'm a little gun shy with water cooling. Okay. Rod says try Bold Rock cider. Yeah, definitely. So most ciders are gluten free. So I'm down to try any ciders for a more beer like experience because I do miss beer. Um, so L1A1 Rocker says lesson: when you take apart a water loop, always do a leak test with only power to the pump. So, um, without trying to be rude, this is information that I know. I've been doing this for a long time, and um, there was no leak when the system was on. I had refitted all parts that I know to be that are proper sized and to be have undamaged O-rings, and I inserted them correctly, and the system was running for a couple minutes before the leak happened. Um, I always leak test without power to the whole system when I'm doing a new build. But if I'm rebuilding an existing build and I have parts that I know work together and are fitted correctly, I generally don't. So you are correct. Always do a leak test. But in this case, I think I was fine doing it the way I did it, although clearly it did not work out. Kevin Karn says, can we see the machine? Is it still together? It's not still together. Um, the some of the fans are still in it, and the pump and res combos are still in it. But no, you can't see it. It's in the other room, and it's enormous. I can't carry it in here. It's just covered. It's like splattered in coolant right now. Okay. Rodimus says, I am hoping in 3 months I could buy my loop kit and a new case. Well, that might be a good time to do it. A lot of cases are being showcased at Computex now that are coming out by the fall, so that'd probably be a good time to start that process. Um, how many F bombs did you drop? I suppose that's in reference to Baron. I actually did. So I literally, when it popped off and it started to spray everywhere, I literally did like I lost my breath for a second before I leapt around and yanked the power cord out. And then as I'm realizing how much coolant was around, I did curse a lot. A lot. Jacob says you could try drive savers data recovery to see if they can recover some of the footage. Um, yeah, that is a good idea, and I very briefly said maybe I could save this drive. The problem is I'm not sure if it's worth it. The only things that were on there was like raw footage, not like finished projects or anything like that. And I've already released a couple of the videos that I was going to use the footage for. So I don't really know if it's worth it to pay to try to save that drive at this point. I don't necessarily need the data anymore. It would be just saving the, admittedly not cheap 1 terabyte M.2 drive. So right now I don't plan on it, but that's a good idea. Old Man Ian says, just finally signed up for Patreon, and my first creator I'm bribing. Keep up the grind. Hey man, that is awesome. Thank you so much. I did briefly want to touch on Patreon. I do have a new Patreon. I've been mentioning it in videos, and I mentioned it on Twitter. And one thing that I wanted to ask you guys, because you're here and interacting, is what is too much when I'm talking about Patreon? Is it okay that I'm mentioning it at the end of videos? I don't want to feel like I'm pressuring people to participate in the community, because you guys can get my content for free. Like, you can go on YouTube and watch it and watch a 5-second ad, or whatever the deal is, and it's free. So people that choose to become a part of we have a Discord, and there's other benefits, but people that choose to support the channel, I mean, clearly or hopefully they believe in what I'm doing here and they think that it is worthwhile and good. But I do not want to feel like I'm pressuring people, and I don't want people to think of my videos as just being an ad for my Patreon. So I'd like your opinion on if my integration of Patreon call to action, like at the end of a video, say, hey, by the way, I have a Patreon. Is that too much? Should I not do that? Or what? So also, if you guys have an idea of what I should be offering patrons, because right now we have a tier structure set up, and we have like basically what I'm doing is for the higher tiers. Excuse me. The rewards are merchandise, so I think that it makes sense. But maybe after the first year or so, if people have enough merchandise, they might not want it anymore. So if you guys have any idea of what I could potentially give as tier rewards, that would be fantastic, because I'm terrible at being creative. So just let me know. Okay. Just scroll down to the bottom. Just reading some comments about what we were just talking about. Saying it at the end is no problem. You don't sound like you're trying to pressure us into good. Okay. Keep it at the end as a plug. No issues with mentioning Patreon before or after the video. Okay. Well, that's really good. Okay, I'm glad that that it's not an issue or not intrusive, and thanks. I appreciate it. Anybody who's signed up or even considered signing up, I say thank you. It very much helps things around here. As the channel continues to grow, the expenses get almost exponentially higher, especially with like trying to get a higher production quality going, and just built a new studio and stuff like that. So, thanks. Thank you, everybody. Thank you all, everybody who's watching and contributing on Patreon. All right. What do you think the AIO Asus is planning to make? Rodimus said that. So that's the what was it, Ryujin? That thing looks cool, and I'm actually really excited that they use Noctua fans on there. The black, I guess those are the industrial Noctuas, or they just designed a different color scheme for the Noctuas. But so it's an Asetek pump. It's an Asetek design unit. So it's going to cool very similarly to a lot of other units on the market. It's going to differentiate itself by having Noctua fans, so they're likely going to be fairly quiet and efficient. And also it's going to differentiate itself with the OLED display. And I forget what they call that thing. They call it something very particular on like their motherboards, but in any event, you could use it to display a photo or system stats or whatever. And I think it's really cool. I have requested one from Asus, but those are not sampling yet. They probably won't be sampling for a little bit of time. So when I get one, you guys will be sure to know about it. But I'd love to take a look at it. It's something different. Like it's the same AIO, but it may be a little bit quieter, and it's got this cool display on it. So why not check it out? There's only so much you can do with an AIO, and Asus seems to be pushing the envelope. They also have like, I guess there's a little fan that blows on the VRMs, which is cool. Nobody else does that. So especially like X299, where the VRMs can get pretty toasty, that could definitely come in handy. Kevin Curran says, so how is the Angry Orchard? It's pretty good. It's still kind of sweet. It's still appley. But I always kind of enjoy an Angry Orchard anyway. Okay, Angelo Batista. I'm the only one who thinks that RGB is getting out of control. I doubt you're the only one. So the Lian Li cables, the power supply cables, the 24-pin cables, those I don't like. I would be all for a company being able to integrate some kind of lighting or RGB into the actual cables themselves. But if you're basically just strapping a light on top of your cables, that's not really innovation. It's it looks cool with the lights off, but I can only imagine that if you have like if you're the inside of your case is significantly lit and you could see that below that lit up strip is just kind of like a mess of cables, that I don't know, how good is that going to look? I am skeptical. Maybe I'll get a chance to check those out at some point, but I think, you know, in the videos where I've seen them showed off and the lights are off and the RGB is doing its RGB thing, they look cool. I mean, RGB lighting looks cool, but there's a point where you're like, that's not great implementation of RGB, and I don't know if that's the final form of RGB 24-pin cables. I'd be surprised if we didn't get a little bit better than that from some other company at some point. Scuba, sup man, just wanted to say that your content is great. Well, thank you. I love anything to do with PCs, but your channel fills that hole. I love filling holes, so cheers to you, Scuba. Old Man Ian says, what product did you like most so far from Computex? And what did you think is the most innovative? What did I like most? I think let me answer that in the product that I am most excited to look at and to try out is Cooler Master's thermoelectric cooler. I've never used one of those before. It's a fairly, I mean, it's, I've never seen anything like that on the market, let alone used one. So I'd be curious to see how well it can do, especially with something like I have in here, which is a delidded 7900X that's still running fairly warm. You know, I want to see it come down a little bit, and I'm wondering if a sub-ambient cooler can do that. So that's probably the product that I've seen so far that it's been most exciting for me. Any thoughts on Threadripper 2? Joke that there is a 32 core. Joke? I don't know why it's a joke. That exists. I'm pumped to use it. I think, I mean, for what I do, having that many cores available is going to be amazing. So I just worry about power consumption and cooling. And I guess we'll have to find out how that's going to work. Alan W says, actually had a tube pop off a fitting like that during a leak test once. Black coolant everywhere. That's, I mean, so I had gray coolant spray everywhere. Black coolant's probably got to be worse. So I'm sorry, man. I hope your parts survived. Okay. All right. More questions about Threadripper, 32 core. I mean, when it comes out, I'll look at it. I'll definitely, you know, I'll be doing a review. Unless it's, so, AMD does not sample me for, well, AMD and I have a complicated relationship. They didn't sample me for their last round of Threadripper, and they said that it was very limited sampling, and I believe that. So I doubt that I'm going to be getting one from them. If I can get one a different way, either from an SI, like I got some of my other parts, or if I have to buy it and it's reasonably priced, then that's fine, and I'll definitely have a review up on it. But I mean, if it's exorbitantly priced and I can't get it any other channels, might have to wait. But I would like to do some content on it at some point on the channel. So I'm going to reserve judgment on that until I see the actual performance, but I can't imagine it's going to be bad. I think that it's going to be a godsend for channels like mine. Okay. The Old Man Ian says the Gigabyte RGB RAM slugs are such a good idea. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, that is a really good idea. I really like that. And I am I don't think that I've never thought of that. I don't know if any other companies thought of that. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to buy a 16 gig kit and get 4 DIMMs. That's great. I mean, it makes the system look so much better. You could fill like 8 memory banks on like an X299 board for the price of 4. That's great. I got a super chat from Shellback. So he is one of my top level patrons and sent me another $5, which is unnecessary, sir. You don't have to do that, but thank you. Use this to pick up some not your mom's apple pie on me. I've heard about that, so I'll definitely check that out. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Okay. Thoughts on the Seasonic cable management device? I don't have enough information to talk about that in an educated manner. So my buddy Stu from GGF posted a video on that, and I watched half of it on my phone when I was online at Starbucks in the drive-thru, waiting for my iced coffee. I did not watch the whole thing. I didn't watch it on a big enough screen. I will educate myself on that and have a better answer for you soon. So, but it looks cool. It looks big. Let me make sure that you guys are aware it's big. So I don't know how much space savings there is there, but it looks like a cool idea. So maybe it'll work. All right. Perspective says, I'm upgrading to a 2700X from a 6700K. Okay. I chose AMD due to its productivity performance and because I was gifted a Z370 board. Wait. You were gifted a Z370 board and you're upgrading to a 2700X? So if that's what you meant to type, then you're upgrading to the wrong platform. Z370 is an Intel platform. The high end there is the 8700K. Or I suppose the 8086K soon enough. But basically the 8700K. So double check. Make sure that you didn't end up with the wrong platform there. But the 2700X is a great chip. So I'm sure it'll do well for you. T9 Con says, hey man, are you in New York? Just curious. I'm in Philly area, so kind of close. I am not in New York. I live in Maryland. I'm from New York. I grew up there. I lived there for 27 years. And I love it there. Still go back and visit. And I miss it there sometimes. But I live in Maryland with my lovely wife. And we like it here. So we're going to stay. But still, probably approximately equidistant from you as if, versus living in New York anyway. And if I ever have a meetup, I probably do it in like Baltimore City or something. Just because that's the closest. I mean, I guess Washington, D.C. is also close. But I'd want to do it in a city or someplace that's, easily accessible for people. Kind of like a hub. But I mean, if I ever have a meetup, I'll definitely let everybody know, and hopefully you can make the drive down and hang out. All right. I think perspective was corrected to X370. Okay, which makes more sense. So if you have an X370 board, make sure the BIOS is updated, and then go nuts. That's a great chip. The 2700X, you're getting more cores. Gaming performance, you're probably not going to notice any difference. The 6700K is a really good gaming chip. 2700X is a good gaming chip, but not the best. So you're probably on about equal footing there. Oh, geez. This thing is skipping around. Jacob says Threadripper 2 will be amazing. We received some virtual data and it will be hot. Yeah, I can't imagine that it wouldn't be hot, to be honest with you. Just that that many cores of anything is going to be hot. I don't even know how you dissipate that heat. They're just basically activating the 2 dummy dies that are in Threadripper right now. So you have 4 Ryzen 2 dies underneath 1 heat spreader. Good luck cooling that, Jacob. Let me know how it goes. Actually, I really do want to know how it goes, so let me know. All right. I'm a Jedi. Says I currently have an 8700K, but Ryzen is damn good. Ryzen is damn good, but the 8700K is also damn good. If you have the top end of either of those, either AMD or Intel at this point, if you have an 8700K, 2700X, I mean, there's not much that either of them can't do. So unless you're into heavy production work or doing a lot of video editing, either of those chips is going to be like more than what you need. So yeah, 8700K is still a great chip. And I got another super chat. Who did I get this from? Old man Ian. What's up, man? $5.01 says, I have to outdo Shellback Tech. I encourage this, and I think that everybody should try to outdo everybody else. So continue. He says, glad I am getting to catch the stream. My boss might disagree. Yeah, man, don't get fired over watching the stream. You could always watch it later. It's gonna be on. It's gonna be up on the channel a little bit later. But thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. And let me know if you have any questions that I can answer. All right, so L1A1 Rocker says, gotta go. My view and new prep fluid just arrived. Well, good luck with it, man. Good luck. Be safe. Leak test your system. Okay. Manny Sanchez says, hey, Brian, what do you do for work, if you don't mind? How do you make up time for videos? I don't... I actually don't think that I've answered this question on stream in quite a long time. So, I work for an insurance company. You guys may know. I mean, I've done like an office tour where some information may have, inadvertently slipped into the video. I don't really want to talk about like which insurance company, but I work for an insurance company, and I've done insurance work for a long time. And I now am what's called a general adjuster. Which is pretty high up in like the technical. So in insurance, you could go like administrative, which is like management track, or you could go the technical track, which is like adjusting claims, knowing how to put things back together again. And I went the technical track, and I'm kind of at the top of that, and I'm a general adjuster. And so what I do is I work for a company doing large loss residential claims. So if your house burns down, that kind of stuff. We do a lot with like natural disasters. So like wildfires, the Hawaii volcano. And that's one of the reasons that I end up traveling a lot for work, is because there are not a whole lot of people in my field, a whole lot of people in the company that do what I do. So we're often having to travel around to go to the people that have these incidents and try to make their lives better. Try to indemnify them, for those of you who are familiar with insurance jargon. Basically put them back in the state they were prior to the event happening. And it's kind of an emotional gig at times, because you're meeting people at what ends up being kind of their worst, their low point. Your house burns down, you lost everything. Sometimes it's a delicate situation. We try to make it as easy as possible and to help people out as much as we can. We try not to be the evil insurance company, and I would, if we had more time, I'd get into why that's kind of a myth, but I won't. And I really do my best to try to make sure that people can get their lives back together, and that's what I do as a 9 to 5. Usually it's a lot more than 9 to 5. Usually it's like 7 to 7 or 7 to 6 or something like that. Luckily, my base of operations is my house, so I do have time to do some other things during the day. I tweet during the day, or if I have a half hour here or there, I usually try to hop on and do some testing, or do video stuff or whatever I got to do. um, how I find time to do YouTube, because YouTube is actually like, um, it, I put out 2 videos a week, and it's about 30 hours. It's about a 30-hour commitment per week, maybe sometimes a little longer than that. How I find the time is my wife, who is a very understanding person, also has a job that requires a significant amount of hours, and she is often not home. And I try to do my best to not do computer stuff, as she calls it, basically anything related to YouTube, while she is home, unless I really have to, or she specifically says that she's got something to do at home, and she's like, oh, I don't mind what you're doing. But when she's home and I'm home and neither of us is working, it's not all that often. So we definitely try to spend the time together. We go out and we do things, or we're even just sitting down on the couch and watching TV. We DVR Jeopardy. We watch a lot of Jeopardy. But because she does work a lot and she's often not home at night or on the weekend, she works weekends. That's when I can find the time to do that stuff, and it's not disruptive to my home and family life. So that was a promise that I made her when I started doing this, is that I would do my best to make sure that it didn't interfere with our personal life. And I think I'm doing an adequate job of it. I'm trying. So that's kind of, you need a balance, but at the same time, like, if I have to get something done, she understands. If she's got to do something, I understand. So it's good to have a good personal relationship. But it amounts to me kind of burning the candle at both ends at sometimes, because I am, if she's working on the weekends, that means that that's my free time. But I've just had a whole week of working 10, 11 hours a day. And now on the weekends, I got to hop on and do YouTube, 10 hours Saturday, 10 hours Sunday to get some videos done for you guys. So it's a lot, but I hope it's worth it. I hope the end product is worth it for you guys. So, and I like doing it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't like to. I mean, I started this channel with 0, just like everybody else. So, I mean, if I didn't like doing it when I had 0 subscribers, it's not going to get any easier when I'm having to produce 2 videos a week and use my spare time to do it. So that was a very long-winded answer. I hope it gave you some more insight as far as what my life is like. Okay. Jets or Giants? I'm a Giants fan. My entire family is Giants fans. However, my entire family is Yankees fans, and I'm a Mets fan. So, go figure, I guess. One of the first memories that I have is when I was, well, I guess maybe not one of the first memories, but one of the most vivid memories I have is when I was 7 years old and the Mets won the World Series in 1986. So that tells you how old I am. But they won the World Series, and they came out with a VHS cassette of their I don't know, their season. And I made my mom rent it from the local video store, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 times in a row. We just kept renting the same video, and I kept watching it on repeat. And maybe that's why I became a Mets fan. But who knows? Giants, Mets, Rangers, Knicks. JR says, did you already discuss the water cooling fiasco that happened to your PC? I did, in quite a bit of detail, so encourage you to rewind. Will we get a new X299 CPU SKU this year or next year? If you're asking if we're going to get it this year or next year, I'm assuming it's going to be later this year. I'm assuming. I don't have any insider info on that. But if you're asking, will we get one this year or next year? We will get one. The X99 platform was refreshed. They went from Haswell E to Broadwell E. This year, we're going to go from Skylake X to whatever the hell they end up calling it. Stream is crispy. Really? I'm glad. I'm happy that it looks good. Um, did you see the Corsair 280X case? I did see the Corsair 280X case. That is also a product that I have talked to Corsair about. Hopefully have one here soon. That case looks really cool. I like it a lot. I like the two-chamber design. It's reminiscent of their Air 240. How about it? I think it's the Air 240. But they don't make a whole lot of cases in that form factor and size, so I'd love to check it out. And it comes with like their light loop fans too, which are it's like a huge price premium just for those fans. It seems to be an okay value, but I'd like to check it out. Did I see the Evolve X? I did see the Evolve X. I still have questions about the airflow in that case. I had for like a year, for maybe the first year of this channel's life, I had a water cooled system built inside the Evolve ATX case. The loop came together great. It looked really good, but when things got heated inside that case, it got real toasty because there is hardly any airflow out the front. I had to take the front panel off quite often in order to make sure that the airflow was good. Now they've enlarged the cutouts a little bit, and they've made the top ventilation a little bit better. It doesn't look like it's changed a whole lot. I'd be much more inclined to do something with that case if they had put maybe some holes in the front panel or on the top or something along those lines. But that is unfortunately, like, I could get over a lot of times mediocre airflow, but that was almost like a sealed up box. And I'd like to see them have done a little bit more with that. I mean, maybe the changes they made are gonna make a huge difference. I guess it's possible, but I don't know for sure. And I mean, if it turns out that it's like a revolutionary design from them, I'll definitely check it out. But as is, I probably won't. Matthew Bracciano. Bracciano. So I knew a guy named Baccio. So I'm assuming that's a like a Bracciano. Um, Let me know if I'm pronouncing it right. It says, will you review the Lian Li PC11 Air? Okay, so I was supposed to have had the PC011 Dynamic months ago, and I do not know what happened to that case. It's not here. I thought it was supposed to have been here. It's not here. I guess I have to follow up with Lian Li on that if it got lost in shipping or something. But I don't have one. So I'm still waiting on the Dynamic. The Air was my favorite from CES. So I would definitely like to take a look at that one too. There's a lot of possibilities with that case. It has really good airflow. It has really good spacing of components. So yes, I would love to take a look at that case if it ends up getting here. Okay. Okay, so I guess I'm getting into the part of the comments where you guys were talking while I was talking about being an insurance adjuster. Luna Grayson says, my house burned down when I was younger. It was a terrible experience. So good insurance, folks, is nice. It matters in making the experience good or absolutely terrible. Yeah, for sure. Like I mean, especially when you get into it. So if you have a claim, an insurance claim, where your roof leaks, you have like a little roof leak, you have some water stain on the drywall ceiling of your bedroom, and there's no other damage, it's a little bit different than if your house burns down. If you have a shitty insurance adjuster when you have $1,000 in damage, it sucks, but you'll get through it. If you have a shitty insurance adjuster when your house burns down, it might ruin your life. So I try to be not a shitty insurance adjuster. Request says, can you keep the stream as a video so I can catch up? Yes, absolutely. It'll be up on my channel. Shellback says, I was in the 2005 World Series at the White Sox Stadium and to unfurl the flag while I was in the Navy. Oh, that's awesome, man. That's really cool. I hope that went well for you. Manny Sanchez says, I'm not a sports fan, but the Mets are by me. So, you know, yeah, the Mets are, I mean, that's basically all they have going for them at this point is that they are close to a lot of people because they started the season 11-1 and now they're like 4 games under 500. So don't get me started on the Mets. Stupid Mets. Kryptonic says, wow, Computex looks a lot like your room. Yeah, I got a hotel in Taiwan that looks exactly like my office at home. So that's what you guys are seeing. I'm in Taiwan right now. Okay. Old Man Ian says they're also offering mesh panels for the Shift X. I bet that they do the same as an add-on for the Evolve. And there are also third-party accessories available. I think like Mod My Mod sells third-party panels for the Evolve ATX that are just basically all mesh at the front, and that does a huge amount of good for that case. Because otherwise, it's such a good case. It's such a good case, but the airflow just kills it. Glenn Alls 81 says, I just caught up with Baron videos. Yeah. Yep. Moment of silence. Vexel Ghost says, how safe is tempered glass? I'm still unsure about ordering a case with it. Oh, tempered glass is super safe. I mean, so if you're prone to dropping things, then I guess pay a little bit more attention to the handling of the glass. But Greg, Science Studios, did a video where he drop tested a tempered glass panel from a case from like he started at like I think a foot or something, and then he went all the way up where he was like standing on a ladder, and it took until he had the panel held above his head and dropping it onto asphalt before it broke. So they are a lot more durable than you might think for it being glass. They're not thin panels. They're 4 or 5 millimeters thick, so they're fairly sturdy. The thing that I would worry about if you end up dropping it is if you drop it on a corner or something, you could chip it. But, I mean, at that point, just be aware that you have a chip and work around that, you know. But they're not going to just shatter on you. They're pretty durable. Jacob says, I currently have an i5 6600K at 4.8 gigahertz. I can either keep my water-cooled Z170 board and buy an i7 7700K, or get a 2700X for free and have to buy the motherboard and RAM. Well, why would you have to buy the RAM? Because you could just reuse the same RAM that's on your Z170 board, unless you want to have both systems up and running. But I don't think you have to buy RAM, and I think an upgrade from a 20... I would go for the 2700X, to be honest with you. The motherboards are plentiful, and there's such a huge range as far as like if you want to spend $100, you want to spend $120, you can spend $120. If you want to spend $300 and get like a super premium board, you could do that too. The availability of items for, I know you said you have a Z170 board, but if you didn't and you had to buy something Z170 or Z270, those boards are kind of drying up right now. So I think I would go for the newer platform, the more cores. I think you'll probably be happier for having done so. That being said, if your purpose is solely for gaming, the 7700K probably gives you a little bit of an edge. Like I'm talking like a couple of percentage points. It's probably just better to go with the newer platform and have an avenue for future upgrades versus sticking with Z170, which is a dead platform at this point. There's no new chips coming out that'll fit that. Okay, Matt says, I have the 6700K. I was thinking about upgrading if Intel released 8-core i7 in the fall or spring. What are your thoughts? Should I wait for Ryzen 2? Or I think you mean Zen 2. I I mean, I never know really how to answer that question. I don't know how desperately you need something, but I mean, if Intel is going to come out with an 8-core i7 in the fall, which kind of all information kind of points in that direction, then it's probably going to be a hell of a chip. Like the 8700K is only 6 cores, and it's really really good. So I mean, if you need something sooner, and the i7 comes out in the fall with 8 cores, just go with that, I think. Connor Godfrey says, I'm building my first PC in a few days. Brian, do you have any tips for me? Yes, watch all of the videos on my channel and you will learn how to build a PC. Actually, not necessarily my videos, although some of my videos I'm sure help, but watch videos of people building so you see what they do, what order they do it in. I mean, in my like monthly build videos, I do like a time lapse of me building it where I show you the order that I'm doing things in, and that might help you, as opposed to if you're going at it for the first time and you install parts in the wrong order. It's not necessarily that they won't work, but it might be much more difficult for you. So watch a few videos. There's a lot of information out there, including stuff on my channel that could hopefully help you. I don't really know what information you're exactly looking for, but if you run into a problem, I mean, tweet at me, and if I can answer, I definitely will. Super chat from NYNTY5 says, I need late help overclocking my 7940 Rampage. I need clarification on that comment. You have a 7940X and a Rampage 6 Extreme? Is that what you're saying? Rampage whatever Extreme? And you need help doing it? Is that what you're saying? Just clarify clarify down below. Steve Cirioli says, "Oh my God, is Baron going to be okay?" No. Unfortunately, it is not going to be okay. It is disassembled currently. So, and I'm still trying to decide what I want to do with those parts. Why aren't you at Computex? So, there's a couple of reasons why I'm not at Computex. So I don't necessarily want to get into the specifics as far as why I'm not there. I could have been there and planned on being there, and a couple of months ago decided that it wasn't worth it for me to go for a number of reasons. So I chose not to, and I think that it's working out pretty well. I do plan on going next year. I do plan on going to, CES again. It's a much easier trip for me. But I'm hoping to be able to go next year, and I'm hoping that by that point, it's a little bit more worth it for me as far as return on investment. It is not a cheap trip. It is not a trip that is easy to make. It's 20 hours or whatever on a plane from the East Coast of the United States. So I mean, have to make sure that that whole trip and experience and expenditure is worth it for me, time wise and financially. So. One or both of those things did not line up this year, and hopefully next year they will. Let me see if I could clarify that super chat comment. If he. Okay, so he's saying yes, what I was assuming is correct. So he's trying to overclock a 7940X. So, okay, so without being there and without doing the overclocking myself, it's super difficult to know what you've tried, what is working, what's not working. Here's some basics for overclocking. Try all your overclocking without touching your memory. Do your CPU overclocking first, because overclocking your memory also changes some things when you're trying to overclock your chip. So do your CPU overclocking first. Don't worry about your memory. Do your memory second. Okay, so keep your memory at whatever stock speed it is. Second of all, Skylake X requires... I feel like I'm burning up here. Well, sorry guys. Skylake X requires much less voltage than you might initially think that it does. What I mean by that is when I was overclocking I had a couple X99 chips and like the 5820K, which was a great chip. In order to get it to run at 4 point whatever gigahertz, I forget what I had it at, it had to be at some ridiculous voltage. It was like 1.44 something volts. But it was fine. It was stable, and I had enough cooling on it that it wasn't an issue. When I first got my 7900X, I assumed that I would need to pump a lot of voltage into it because it has more cores, it draws more power. It's not the case. Try overclocking at a lower voltage first. Try like 1.2, 1.25. Try somewhere down in that range before you end up going higher than that. I have my 7900X hits 4.6 gigahertz at 1.2 volts. So it requires less power than you might think. And I would try that first, and also leave your memory alone. And then go from there. Try it, bumping it up in increments. It's hard for me to diagnose an overclocking problem from here, but hopefully that helps you. All right. Scroll up, see what I missed. Old Man Ian says, general FYI for upgraders, eBay today, use code PickDad'sGift and pay before 7 p.m. You get 20% off your purchase up to $100. Oh, neat. Thanks for the tip. OTTR Employees says, hi, I always enjoy your videos, bro. Thank you. It was nice meeting you at CES and at the AMD. Nice meeting you at CES at the AMD booth. Oh yeah, hey, good seeing you. Thanks for stopping by. I hope all is well with you. Kryptonic says, I think my favorite coverage of Taiwan was Greg and Brian's cover. Yeah, those are two of my boys. So yeah, watch their stuff too. Jacob says, how are chances that you'll do a mashup video with Bitwit Kyle? Maybe a build-off. How are the chances? So the thing that holds that back, and we've discussed collabs at various points, and we did two, actually, if you count my 20,000 subscriber video. But the thing that really holds us back from doing more work together is our proximity to each other, or lack thereof. We live literally on opposite coasts. It's a 6-hour plane ride or a 2-day drive. So 3-day drive, whatever it is, a very long drive, 3,000 plus miles. So I would love to do more work with Kyle, and we do talk quite often about doing something, and it just never really works out. I have discussed, there's been things that have been discussed that I don't want to get into specifics of that may come to fruition at some point, which is the most vague thing that I could possibly say. I'm sorry about that, but I realized I started to say something that maybe I shouldn't. So there have been discussions about things that we could potentially do, and you may see something in the future if we can make it work. But right now, we do not have a plan in place for anything immediately coming up on either of our channels. Manny Sanchez. Brian, SLI on a Z370 versus X299. Any performance difference? Because Z370 will be 8x 8x versus 1616. You're probably not going to notice any difference. Depending, I guess, on what GPUs you're using. But 8.8 is probably fine. It's more a worry on Z370 if you're using SLI and something like M.2 SSDs, because then you run into PCIe lane issues. You could potentially, I'm not saying you would, but just be wary of that. That's the biggest concern, honestly. By the way, you're going to sell your Case Labs case. I don't plan on it. That was manufacturer. It was given to me by Case Labs for the build, so I think it would be kind of shitty of me to go and sell it. Maybe maybe I could give it away at some point if that makes sense. I guess, but I don't foresee myself getting rid of that case anytime soon. Super chat. Oh, NY. Okay. I'm going to send you my system and let you do it and show me. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Um, don't do that. Thank you very much for having confidence in me, but please don't do that. Okay. Do you think it's worth, Alexander A says, do you think it's worth getting a secondhand 1080 Ti EVGA Kingpin edition? Already has a water block on it, plus a working air cooler included over, let's say, 1080 Ti or, okay. The difference is, so you're talking Kingpin 1080 Ti plus water block versus 1080 Ti Strix. The difference is $200. I don't know which direction the difference is $200. If you're talking about getting a discount of $200, get the Kingpin card. That card's crazy good. But if it's $200 more, I don't know. I don't know. Do you need the water block? I mean, that could be $150 just by itself. So basically, you're paying $50 more at that point for a Kingpin versus a Strix card. That's probably worth it. The Kingpin cards are like a $950 or something like that by themselves. Just because they're binned. So probably worth it, but I'm not sure. If you're going to be water cooling, that's certainly different than if you're not. Because if you're not, then you're paying $200 extra for nothing. So, Matt says, did you see those Asus AIOs? What are your thoughts? I did talk about that earlier, so rewind a little bit. Sorry, I don't really want to double back on that just for now. Shellback, another donation. I hate you. Maybe set up a PO box for fans to send you gear. Yeah, I definitely have considered that. I will. I'll work that into the plans for the future. I don't know how many people want to send me stuff right now. I don't know. But if that's something that people really want, then I don't really want to give out my home address. Then sure, maybe. Stinky Pete says, hi, any problems with delitting and monoblocks? Like, do I have any problems with it? No. Are there any problems with a delitted chip with a monoblock? Is that what you're asking? I'm not sure. So if you're going to be delitting and you're going to be, if you want the best temperature performance, watch my H500M video, because I took a look at a product there from Der Bauer. It's a direct die frame that is awesome. So you don't even have to reinstall the IHS. The cooler just goes like right onto the die. So, but you need the frame to do it, otherwise you crush the die. Another donation. Okay, I will send you my Unraid server with the 6950X Asus. Please don't go sending me your system. Thank you so much for the super chats, but please don't go sending me your system. I have a lot of other stuff in here that I need to take care of first, and I can help you remotely through this chat if I can. But thank you very much for your generosity. Let's see. Vexel Ghost, have you seen the Tech Vengers custom builds with Nerd on a Budget? I haven't. I'm sorry. Okay. What is your excitement level on 2nd gen Threadripper? Again, I did touch on this a little bit earlier today on the stream, but I am very excited. I mean, I think I'm on record a couple of streams ago as saying I didn't think we were going to get 32 core chips, and I was wrong. So definitely excited to take a look at them. All right. Stinky Pete says it's about contact with the IHS and the block after removing the silicone adhesive. Oh, in reference to the monoblock question. So there shouldn't be any problems if you reinstall the IHS correctly. Um, so just make sure you're doing that, or get the direct die frame. I think we may have reached the end here. I've reached the end of the comments. Usually when I do that, it kind of signifies that that I should stop streaming. We've been streaming for an hour 12. I will give you guys another minute or so if you got any last minute questions or anything like that. Um, another donation from NYNTY5 for another $10 says, okay, I will need your assistance on if I should buy the 1800X on sale to upgrade my 1400 FreeNAS server. Probably. I mean, how much is it on sale for? I'm not entirely sure where you're looking, but the 1800X would be like definitely a decent FreeNAS chip. I don't know if you need the upgrade on if your server's not functioning correctly, but I would say that if you could swing it and it's on sale for a decent amount, then probably. So, I owe you for your info. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Don't go yet. RG phone, your thoughts. So, actually, you know what? I want to pull up a poll that I did earlier today on Twitter regarding that phone. Okay. So, I said, what is your level of interest, 1 to 10, in gaming branded smartphones like the new ROG phone shown at Computex? Should this be something that I review? And the choices are basically it's rating at 1 to 10. So the first choice is 1 to 2, second choice is 3 to 5, third choice is 6 to 8, and the last choice is 9 to 10. So with 10 being the best. And of 122 votes, 74% of you said either you're not interested or you're only a little curious. And that's kind of where I sit here. I am not. Asus has put out phones before. Razer has put out a phone that's a gaming phone. There have been other other phones aimed at gamers that have just kind of fallen flat. I don't know that the market is there. The people that are playing games on their phones are playing it on their iPhones when they're sitting on a subway or something like that, when they have a little, 5 minutes of time and you're like, oh, gee, let me play some Angry Birds or whatever the game might be. And it's not like you're taking your phone out to game on it for an hour and a half. If you're going to be doing that, you get a portable gaming device or you game at home if that's usually, if that's really what you want to be doing. I don't know the market is there. Asus is really trying to push this with all the peripherals that are coming out. It looks like the phone itself is really good. It's got a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. It's got a binned Snapdragon 845, which I've never heard of anybody binning mobile chips before, but I guess that's a thing. But I have a feeling it's going to be expensive, and I don't know that it's going to catch on. I hope that it does, because Asus I like Asus product. I think that they have a good handle on typically what people want, but this, I don't know if it's going to work. And I know that I won't be buying one. If they send me one for a review, I will take a look at it. But like I said, the poll that I put up, 74% of you guys just not interested or just a little interested. Only 26% of you said you're 16% moderate interest, 10% definitely interested. So that's not a lot of people. That's not a huge percentage of my audience that even thinks that. And you guys are the target. You guys are who Asus is like, this is who this phone is for. And 70 whatever percent of you guys say like, I don't really care. So I don't know that I don't know. I guess we'll see how it does in the market, but it might just be a dud. All right. Oh, more super chats. Robert Schmoyer. Thanks, man. 19.99. You couldn't get 20. You couldn't do $20. Couldn't do $20. What's wrong with you? That extra penny's just killing you. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks, man. Great stream. What are your plans with some of the parts from Baron? Parentheses giveaway. Well, so I already lost an SSD out of there. I don't know. I've already lost quite a bit of money. So the parts from Baron are being cleaned currently and tested. The next thing to test is the motherboard and CPU. Until I have everything out of it, things are still in that case. Until I get everything out of the case and cleaned and tested and re-put back into inventory, I'm not going to be doing anything with those parts. So giveaway or not, I guess I can't comment on that just yet. Okay, another $5 from NYNTY5. You are my go-to for water cooling, except for Baron. I don't blame you for that. I'm trying to overcome my fears about the maintenance. Keep showing this technique. Yeah, so that's going to be part of my series, Water Cooling for Beginners. So keep watching. I'm going to do the next video is going to be about loop planning. And then the next video is going to be about tubing, like hard tubing, bending tubes. And then the next video is going to be maintenance. And then the next video is just going to be like a wrap up. So stay tuned. Thank you very much for the donation. And I hope those videos are, I hope they work out for you. I hope they give you the information you're looking for. Perspective says, is it Yanni or Laurel? I thought that meme was dead, but I hear Yanni. All right. So wow, a lot of comments came in. Oh my god. Why are giveaways assumed on builds? Oh, well, I think people just want stuff, and that's understandable. I think he was just joking anyway. All right. I've hit the end. We're all done here. It's 5:20, so an hour 20-minute stream, pretty good. I hope you guys like the stream. I hope the content that I've been putting out recently has been good for you guys. Little sneak peek. Tomorrow's video is going to be Show Me Your Rig episode 10, which is the last episode before we do voting for the season 1 prize, and then we're going to start season 2 probably next month. So get your submissions in if you haven't already. I did mention this in the video, so you'll probably see it tomorrow, but I've been getting a huge amount of submissions. So if you've submitted your PC and you haven't seen it, I am very sorry, but I got over 120 for this episode alone, and I feature 3. So don't be discouraged. Keep working on your systems. Resend them if you made a change or something like that, and I'll try to get you guys on the show if I can. But that's it. Thanks for sticking around on a Wednesday afternoon / evening. And, man, thanks for supporting the channel and hanging out with me. And have a good day.